and welcome back to the Dots podcast. To all of our Dots viewers, thank you so much. Once again, season 3 is on a reboot. I know we dropped a few episodes back in the last few months, but we took a 4-month hiatus off on the job doing our own things over this past summer. As Matt already has a completely different setup behind him. Is that the kitchen?
This is the kitchen. This is my brother's kitchen. Brenden is always stationary in his sense. He's up in Stevens Point. I am back home. And we both graduated college, basically. I'm still at my last semester. So nothing's unpacked from my house, and my room is currently a storage room. So, what does that mean?
How to use the kitchen.
I got, well, not even my own kitchen, my brother's kitchen.
There we go.
So, yeah.
But check out my latest setup in the background here. We're rocking with the Lombardi Trophy. Thanks to Ben Lehman losing my Super Bowl bet with him. Thank you so much, Ben. And then we also got my United States map of the stadiums. And it's tough to really see what's going on there right now. I completely
covering it up. I didn't even see the Lombardi Trophy. I was like, why is it curved?
Yeah,
it was wrinkled.
That's the Lombardi right there.
That is the Lombardi.
It's tough to point when I'm just looking into the camera. Mm-hmm. But we got our Guardians poster as per usual. But we got a new setup for this year in the same room. It's your boy, Brett.Golf, 99 Brett, Brendini, Brenden Retzloff in the house. So glad to say that here on the home sideline and on the away sideline in his own brother's kitchen.
It is your boy, Matty Icy, also known as Matt. Obviously, I know BS, we're still trying to figure things out, but up here is the NFL logo, so please do not copyright us or whatever. And there's a blank screen right over to my right here. We're still trying to figure out what to use that space for. Most likely either our logo with our episode and season. So whatever, but we're still trying to figure things out. And honestly, Brenden, you should be on the home sideline because you have a stationary place. I'm going to be moving all over the place. So this might be the season where Brenden is going to be basically on the home sideline for the whole season. I'm just going to be out and about, moving around like an actual away team.
We say that, but I have a feeling we're going to somehow forget that fact, and we're just going to say, why don't you be the home sideline for this episode, and I'll be the away sideline. But
yeah, we'll probably do something like that, but like I said, we were texting before this. I'm just like, dude, I'm probably going to be in a different location every episode if I can't do it. So that's going to be interesting.
And hey, that's dedication there from your boy Matty Icy there, because, I mean, yourself, since you're going to be traveling everywhere, you're dedicated to shooting the podcast at any location at any given moment. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
I mean, when you're unemployed and not on a job hunt, I mean, it's kind of easy to do whatever you want. My days usually consist of waking up at 9, morning to lift, basically doing whatever I want. I mean, I'm still trying to find a job, so obviously I'm still doing that. But today is a difference since I have class from 6 to 9:30 tonight, so that range is cut off, and I don't like class. I'm done with school. But yeah,
I think we've been done with school for quite some time.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys senioritis really bad, but I got it really bad. I got after midterms, I'm just like, dude, I'm done. I just want to get that special piece of paper that said I graduated, and I don't even have that yet. So
I got mine right behind this Luke Skywalker helmet.
Okay, that's probably what... Okay, I honestly thought that the Luke Skywalker helmet was the Lombardi Trophy. I didn't see it.
I'm going to grab it.
All right. But anyways, guys, so kind of going to pitch up with that 4-month hiatus. I know we said we were going to actually do the UFL, and there it is. Opens up. There it is. Congratulations for media studies, I do believe. He can't hear me right now, but I think that's what he went for. But yeah, so I know we said we were going to do the UFL and all that stuff. But
I get that out of the window.
yeah.
Throw that out of here. We're on a reboot.
But yeah, that was going to be original season 3. But obviously that did not even go over well. I don't even remember our game predictions. But life just got, I know for me personally, I got really busy with school. Kind of right when I got the senioritis. And then for the whole summer, it's just basically trying to find a time we can actually line stuff up. I mean, Brendan's full-time at Zaleski's. I was working a blue-collar job from 5 a.m. to 4:30 at night, almost working 12-hour shifts. So it was really... Oh, there goes the semi. I'm sorry, I can hear everything outside the window. But it's like... It was just really busy, just trying to find a common time just to meet up. And today we're just like, we need to shoot a episode like now. It was either going to be today or it was going to be tomorrow right before the game.
Yeah, we're one day right before the
NFL
regular season begins. So there's so much that's been going on. And I know you were just explaining what's been going on within your life and within my life. I know you pointed out a couple of things with me starting a full-time job and everything. But, I mean, yeah, taking all of this stuff ahead, let's just give the folks some quick recaps of how our summers went, especially the last 4 months. It's hard to believe we're already in this month of September and football season is about to begin. College football just got started a couple of weeks ago, mainly for most of the schools this past week. And now school's starting everywhere. Like out here at the UWSP campus, I see students walking back and forth down towards their dorms and towards their classes. And it just feels weird. It really does. It doesn't feel like that time. And now that I'm out of school, and I guess technically you're also out of school.
I'm taking one class, but I'm doing online, so I'm not ever going to be on campus. Besides, like, maybe homecoming, visiting my friends from here and there. But no, it's weird. Especially not being on campus, not going to school for the past 16 years of my life, basically. Just waking up and not going to school is such a weird feeling. But, yeah, I mean... Over the summer, like I said, I was working a blue-collar job. I also was still playing football. Obviously, Brenden was saying, football season starts back up. For me, it's weird because, like, from April to August is, like, my semi-pro season. And then there's, like, 2 weeks where there's, like, no football at all. And then it's college football, and then it's NFL. By the time the NFL is done, there's, like, maybe a month and a half where there's no football, like I'm practicing, so I guess that still counts. So it's like, I have football 24/7, and it's just kind of nice.
Dude, getting the football life 24/7, that's like every man's dream.
It really is.
It literally is. All you need is a garage. You got your 6-pack of beer, and just open that up. Whatever, 12-pack. Dude, what do you go for?
30 rack.
You raised the bar to 30.
30 rack.
Dude, this guy's built different.
I am built different. That is why I actually have a beer belly.
And you are built different because, I mean, you've been going to the gym almost every day of the week for the last,
every day.
2 years.
Yeah, probably from... It was after my sophomore season of wrestling, so almost 3 years now, almost 4 years now, I've been consistently going. Obviously, there's some days where life gets the best of me or I'm sick and whatever and I can't go usually. But, yeah, like for 3-4 years now, I've been hitting it hard. Obviously, I've gained 50 pounds, I think, since my sophomore year of college. So, kind of crazy to think about that.
50 pounds of muscle or 50 pounds of some beer belly?
We're going to say a 40-10. I think that's a good accurate 40 pounds of muscle and 10 pounds of beer belly.
Okay, I was gonna say a 40 of beer belly or 40 of muscle, but
No.
we got you there.
Ooh.
He's holding a little down on his drinks, but now that football is back, you
Oh,
might
my
be
drink is gonna
bring
go
that
right back
consumption
up.
back up.
But yeah, so for the SaberCats, for those who don't know, I play for the Sheboygan County SaberCats. I was a tight end for the team. I'm now transitioning to linebacker. So, number, we don't know yet. Our options are 0, 9, and 54. Those
Ooh.
are our options. But,
I feel like a linebacker number that would go hard. Sorry to interrupt. I think zero could look really good.
oh yeah, 100% would. Because
I think
obviously, people.
zero or 54. 54 for sure.
Well, 0 is more so, I can get called Sub-Zero, which, don't know, I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I've customized cleats that, if Brenden does edit this, I'll send him a video of me actually wearing them. Maybe just throw it up there and you can see what I'm talking about. But 9 is also when I was still playing middle school football, and that was actually like my first real number, and I was playing linebacker, so good old throwback. And then 54, I don't know if you've ever seen Blue Mountain State at all.
I have not, but I do know of
So
it.
Thad Castle is number 54, and he's just like this wild, insane linebacker. Like, just says like the most outrageous things, which honestly, if you really get to know me, that's what I am basically. So those are my 3 numbers. But yeah, anyways, we made the league championship in August, about a month ago now, and fortunately we did not win. I did not get ring number 2. Of course, my goal was to be undefeated in every championship I've been to. That was not the case. We lost 16-8 against the Midwest Renegades. Hats off to them. I mean, they got their lick back that they wanted, but now we want our lick back, so it is what it is. But yeah, it was an interesting season. We had a lot of teams that dropped out, that folded, got suspended, so it was like we play 1 week, then we have a bye. We play, then we have 2 weeks bye because we had original bye, then another team didn't want to play. So it was a funky season.
I mean, the fact that you guys were able to get back into the championship again, even though it didn't go the way that you wanted to, I mean,
Yeah,
that's still a nice accomplishment to make it to that spot. But hey, you're number 3. You just got to come back for vengeance, and I
revenge
mean,
tour.
yeah, it sounds like you're already preparing yourself for that. But
Enough
that
about me.
league's
How about
now,
you?
yeah, that league's now over and football season's back. But yeah, for myself over this summer, man, it's just been a lot of traveling. Traveling around just because I ended up picking up my new job as a salesman for the Zaleski Sports Broadcasting Company. If you guys aren't familiar with the company, number 1 high school sports broadcaster in the state of Wisconsin. So really grown significantly over the last few years. I'm entering my 3rd year working as a broadcaster with them. So that's super exciting. But I am now stationed over in the Fox Valley area, which is about an hour and a half away, hour 15 minutes or so
Basically
from
where we grew
Stevens
up
Point.
at.
Kind of like that.
That's really
Just
considered like
just more in the city, the metropolis
yeah, so it's
areas.
more like Appleton, Kaukauna, Neenah, maybe Oshkosh is probably I'd still consider that the Fox cities.
Green Bay is also considered a part of that market for me. So I've just been doing lots of traveling. I started that job back at the beginning of July. And then right when I started that job, actually, I took my vacation. My mom and I, we ended up going to Florida, had a great time down there in Orlando. Obviously, had to check out Disney World. Great time over there for about a week. And then once that vacation came to an end, it was back to getting to the sales job. And things have actually been going pretty well in terms of my sales. It's just been so much traveling, whether it's been to go to these businesses to try to negotiate with them or just to get ready to cover the sports teams in the area, and more specifically, Kakana High School, which, by the way, might have had one of the craziest endings to a high school football
I have
game that
seen
I've
that
ever
clip
seen.
everywhere on TikTok, and I saw that on your
Really?
TikTok, and I'm just like, I don't know how much of a crazier ending you could get from that game.
I guess I can describe the moment of the game to the audience here, our dots viewers. So I'll probably play like a clip of it in our edit. So this is like one of the last plays of the game. This was the last possession for West Appear. So it's the West Appear Phantoms against the Kakana Galloping Ghosts. How about that for two team names? Like
Phantoms
the
and
Ghost,
Galloping Ghosts. You don't really hear
the
those every day.
not at all. So you just hear ghostly rivalry out of it, and that's what I called it when I was calling the game. But these plays, I mean, football, it happens so fast when you're broadcasting the game. So it can be tough to get every single thing that you see right on the field, because sometimes it can what you say might translate to something that could have been different from happening than what was actually out there. So in this last play, the quarterback, he drops back. His name, uh, his last name was Greason. This guy, he was so good. I mean, he was throwing passes like Aaron Rodgers out there off of his back foot, and they were absolute dots. He only made one mistake the entire game. And going into this game, he had a quarterback rating of like a 137
Which
or
is,
something like that.
I think the max is 153.7. So if you really take that in consideration, that's insane.
Yeah. So this guy, I'm trying to think of his first name, but Greason, he drops back on this pass, and Kakana absolutely blows their coverage. Kakana's up by 4 points with about 40 seconds left in this game. And West Appear has the ball at around the 35-yard line or so. And Greason, he drops back to pass it. Kakana blows the coverage. Wide receiver goes by on a post route. Quarterback hits him wide open down the field. And I don't know how the Kakana defenders managed to get back and catch up to the wide receiver in time, because he just had to stride his way
They were
to the end
playing,
zone.
from what I saw, is like they were playing prevent, and all I saw is like whoever your camera person was, they literally just showed. That looked really weird. I do apologize, but I'm so sorry. I looked in the camera. I looked on OBS and was just like, oh god. But anyways, he looked. You just scanned the camera, and it's one white jersey, which was West Appear. I think Kakana was wearing their all black unis.
Yep.
And there's four defenders, and there's one guy just like pass them all. I'm like, in prevent defense, I don't know how you can allow that to happen, because if you're playing prevent cover 4 or whatever, you have 4 DBs back. The fact that there was even 4 over there is really weird. And yeah, all I just saw was just this guy just run straight past the defenders.
Yeah, so his name was I think it was Brock Story. That was his name. He was by far the best wide receiver on the team, senior for their team, one of their captains. And yeah, he just made his way down the field, absolutely gone by the blown coverage on this prevent defense from Kakana. He makes the catch at about the 30-yard line or so. So it was about a 35-yard pass down the field. So once again, in high school, that can be a tough pass to complete. But this was right on the money, right to his man. And Story, he's striding his way, trying to get to the end zone. And one of the Kakana defenders, Will Clark, he ends up catching up to Story with his track speed, because apparently this guy, he was in track and field for the last few years as well. And he was coming off of a game the week before against Notre Dame, which I also went to that game. Notre Dame, one of the best teams.
They're a really good team. They're my best friend. He lives up in Green Bay. His brother plays for Preble, so I think they're in the same conference. So
yeah, I think that's the Bay Conference. I might be wrong.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it might be. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, but they have a running back, Christian Collins. He was one of the best running backs in the state last year. He's now a senior this year, so he's probably going to be absolutely ridiculous. This dude's kind of built like Christian McCaffrey. But anyways, Going back to this play. Story, he got chased down by Will Clark. Will Clark goes out to reach it with his left hand to try to tackle him, but he also kind of went with a strip tackle all over the wide receiver, and he was able to get a piece of the ball. And this was when I was announcing the game. I had a hard time to tell who or what actually happened when he fumbled the ball. Keep in mind, there's about 35 seconds or so left in this game, and West Appear needs a touchdown to take the lead and probably win this football game because it was back and forth the entire second half. But he ends up fumbling the ball because Clark ends up reaching out and got the strip tackle on it, and the ball bounces off of his leg, and it just rolls so fast into the end zone and then into the back, which made a touchback occur. And then that was essentially how this game ended. And the Kakana fan base, which was directly underneath where I was, they were going absolutely bananas. It was a great way to be welcomed to that school to do broadcasting for them.
It was like definitely because I didn't even see, you just said like the craziest ending on your TikTok, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy just blew past 4 defenders, and then I just see the strip tackle comes in from the top, hits, and the ball just it's not like he was at the 2, he was like at the 5 or 10 yard line, and it just bounced into the end zone. I was like, oh my gosh, like that was such an insane turn of events.
So going back to Will Clark, in his game against Notre Dame, he was one of the kickoff returners for the team, and he ended up muffing one of the kickoff returns, and Notre Dame was able to recover it. And so he was coming off of a really bad week, and he really worked his butt off in practice the past week, from what Coach Matt Binsfeld told me. He's the head coach of the Kakana team. So then, dude, it just goes to show that no matter how bad of a moment you have, like at any time, you can always come back and rebound from it with something that happened, because that guy just saved the game. And there were so many other great plays that were in this game. There was a one-handed catch, almost looked like a David Tyree catch from like Super Bowl 42 against the Patriots.
The helmet catch.
Yeah, there was a catch that looked exactly like that in this game. And I'll have to play these clips up once it comes to the edits of our episode. But anyways, I get to do broadcasting for Kakana High School, and it's been a blast already. Even though there's so much travel involved, I may have put over 3,000 miles on my car in the last month.
That's a lot.
That's pretty much all that's happened this summer. I got to hang out with a few friends. I got to hang out with my girlfriend a lot, which has been really nice. Great things expected for the future, I think, throughout not just our own relationship, but also with my friends, with you, dude. And then also just to be around Zaleski sports. Like, just getting that opportunity to do sports broadcasting and, like, calling games and getting paid for it, like, that's almost like every man's dream once again. Like, who doesn't love sports? Sports, they're just amazing. They bring people together. They also tear friendships apart.
They friendships apart.
Especially those, I would say, the Bears and Packers rivalries, or Brewers and Cubs rivalries. But
well, the Cubs
anyways,
suck, so that's not a question.
True. But that's pretty much how my whole summer has gone. It hasn't been like too eventful, but at the same time, quite a bit's been going on. But
once you really start,
we're back.
Like once you're like done with school, like it just becomes super mellow. Like nothing really exciting happens unless some big event changes. I know.
I mean, who knows? We never know what we have in store or what's ahead of us. So yeah, just got to take it one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, and we'll see what happens going through. I almost feel like I'm kind of being interviewed, like in a post game or something.
Sure.
Like, we'll just take it one game at a time. You never know. Like, it just sounds like a typical response from a person, but it's facts. So, yeah, that's that's a recap of how we've been doing. 4-month hiatus, and yeah, Matt, you were talking about the UFL stuff earlier. Just
I think
let's
we're just
just
going
let
to
the
be
family through the
exclusively
X on that
for
one.
NFL. I think we're exclusively just going to be NFL, no longer UFL. Unfortunately,
I don't think we ever were UFL. Let's just put it that
we
way.
did one episode, and
Not the
well,
most solid effort. I'll
it
say
was a
that.
valiant effort. But anyways, we got football news to talk about. So let's get right into it. Why
NFL's
don't we?
back. Let's go.
So, first order of business: the rookie class of 2024. Now, obviously, who does this all entail? Well, big names like Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, who tore his meniscus and is out for the whole year, so screw my Vikings season. Dallas Turner, Ricky Pearsall, I don't know, but he was a 49ers pick, and
Yeah, we know the story about him.
yeah,
Well,
he
I
got
guess
shot. Well, he
maybe some.
got injured, got
Yeah,
shot,
don't
and
say
now he's
that. No,
back.
don't say that word. Don't say that word. Don't say the S word on here.
Oh,
I
YouTube
don't
isn't
think
gonna
we'll.
care. We're 26 minutes in. They're not gonna watch this far. He got he was attempted to get robbed and it didn't go so well.
He got pew pewed.
He got pew pew by the Glicky, but he's
Okay.
already back practicing, which is insane because Michael Thomas can stub his toe and be out for 3 years apparently. But yeah, you remember that guy is still a free agent, Michael
Dude, Michael
Thomas,
Thomas, man, slant boy.
slant
Slant
boy.
boy 13 for the Saints, yeah.
Yeah, but
Ever
anyways,
since Drew Brees left, he's been a lost cause. But
yeah.
yeah, the rookie class, there are some big names that are out there, and mainly in the quarterback position for who's going to be starting this year. Caleb Williams, biggest name up there on the board. People are very excited to see how he's going to perform.
He's gonna be a
Headed
bust.
into,
What?
he's got a Say that again, Matt.
He's gonna be a bust. I
Oh,
think he's gonna be a
and,
bust. I think he's really gonna be a bust.
and there has been lots of words about this guy possibly being the real deal, possibly the next Patrick Mahomes, or like you said, being a bust. But we'll find out when the Bears face the Titans Sunday at noon, I believe. When they also have another rookie out there, Romo Dunze. We'll see how he ends up performing out there as wide receiver. But the Bears also have Keenan Allen, just picked him up from the Chargers
For a bag of
earlier
rotten
this year,
chips.
and we'll just see how things fare off. But we ended up seeing USC's football team play on Sunday. I believe it was Sunday
Sunday
night
night
against
against LSU,
LSU,
which was a phenomenal game. Oh my gosh.
and
Phenomenal
they
game.
and they ended up coming up with the victory in that one. And it seemed like their quarterback fared out pretty well and
Miller Moss is doing pretty
better.
good, yeah.
Almost played better than Caleb Williams in a game like that. I don't know. We'll see
We'll see.
how Caleb Williams
We'll see.
performs. But another one of the rookies who's going to be out there for the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, the second overall pick in the draft. There's also very high expectations on this guy to
Mm-hmm.
performing well. I guess I'll ask you this, Matt. Bo Nix being another one for the Broncos. They're going to start him.
Yes. He
But
was also
I'll
named the
ask.
captain. So that just shows you how much he's probably improved. Because I think in the beginning of July, halfway through July, when they released a depth chart, Bo Nix was QB3. It was Jarrett Stidham, Zach Wilson, and Bo Nix.
And that was it, yeah.
But
Like,
if you saw how Bo Nix played in the preseason, I never really had high hopes for Bo Nix because at Auburn and Oregon, however you say it, for me he was just a screen merchant. But he looked very impressive, especially against the Packers, where the Broncos won 30-2. Very weird
uh,
score, but believe me, it was a very weird. It was 30-2.
Yeah, I remember watching a little bit of that game, and I was like, yeah, Packers offense so boring right now. But they
We have
didn't even
Sean
play their
Clifford, yeah.
starters in any of the game. But to what we were talking about though about these rookies, how do you feel about some of these teams starting rookie quarterbacks? Do you think this is a step in the right direction for these teams, or do you
Well,
think that it's a little bit of a risk to have guys so young out there against these veterans who are possibly into their 10th to 12th year playing in the league?
you gotta look at it like this. The Bears don't have a veteran. They have Tyson Bagnett, and I don't know who else is in their QB room. It's either Tyson Bagnett or Caleb Williams. So, I mean, do you go with a D2 undrafted free agent, or do you go with your first overall pick in round one, pick one? So, Caleb Williams makes sense. Jaden Daniels, from what I've heard, Jaden Daniels is also super fast. Obviously, read RPOs, read.
Former Heisman Trophy winner, by the way.
Yes, both Caleb Williams the year before Jaden Daniels won it. So when I look at the Commander situation, I mean, who you really got there? You have Marcus Mariota. I mean, he never really had a chance. I don't know if you would want him to start. I mean, honestly, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with starting a veteran. I actually think you should start a veteran because throwing a rookie in there, excuse me, just throwing a rookie in there and just expect them to like, all right, here's the deep end, now swim. So I honestly think like you don't have Drake May on here, which he's not starting week one because they're starting Jacoby Brissett, and we all know Jacoby Brissett was behind Tom Brady. So as when he was younger, he was looking at Tom Brady, and I also think he kind of started some other place. He started for Cleveland. I think he started for the Jets. I'm not entirely sure.
Indianapolis,
Indy,
I
he
believe.
did. And now he has that veteran knowledge to pass down to Drake May. And he's probably going to make Drake May better. I mean, because if you have knowledge from Tom Brady, that's really going to be useful no matter what. But yeah, I mean, some of these, like, you don't really have a choice. I mean, Jaden Daniels, you kind of really don't have a choice because Marcus Mariota is so trash. Caleb Williams, I mean, you're going to put him, a former Heisman winner, versus a D2 player. But kind of looking at, like, the Viking situation, unfortunately, J.J. McCarthy tore his meniscus. Well, yeah, I guess you could say tore his meniscus, out for the year. Instead of fixing it, they completely repaired it, so he's out for the whole year. But they were going to start Sam Darnold probably anyways. And say what you want about Sam Darnold, but he's a veteran, 7th year, as we were discussing before we started recording. I mean, he did come from San Fran, and obviously if you play for San Fran under Kyle Shanahan, we will pick up a lot of good knowledge. So it's like, knowledge can be passed down. And honestly, like, just because they're playing doesn't mean that they're not good enough. They're probably going to be good enough. Like, Drake May is going to be the Patriots franchise quarterback. J.J. McCarthy is going to be the Vikings franchise quarterback. Michael Penix is probably going to be the Falcons franchise quarterback behind Kirk Cousins. Obviously, it was a very weird pick, but yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with starting unless you're super confident or you don't really have a choice, but I prefer to see rookies sit behind a veteran and learn from them.
And I'm the same way as you here on this. I feel like it depends what type of pick that you have. What kind of call are you getting right now?
I'm getting a Discord call from one of my buddies, and I'm like, no. I don't need that right now.
No, but I mean, like I'm saying, it depends on like what position in the draft you go for. If there's extremely high expectations on this player, then I think it's okay to start them because everybody's expecting, okay, this guy's going to go out there. We'll see if he can show up, throw a few touchdowns in the game, and see if he just stays away from all these bad things happening or getting prevented from being sacked or whatever. So, like, a guy like Caleb Williams, I 100% agree with you that he should be starting. And like you said, Chicago doesn't really have anybody else who is in the veteran spot as a quarterback. in terms of that. So, yeah, Tyson Bagent, he is literally one of the only guys who's there. Used to be Justin Fields. Obviously, we know the case that happened to Justin Fields getting moved over to Pittsburgh. And now he doesn't even have a starting job over there.
No.
But if you're talking about other previous number one draft picks that are out there, I think Andrew Luck was a very huge one back in, I believe, 2014.
2012, I believe. 2012 or 2014. It's one of those years. But I know
it was one of the even years, but he was very dominant in his time when he played, and turned out to be a great success for Indianapolis. Trying to think of other number one picks who have really gone out there to be successful from the draft. Cam Newton, he had
Are you talking about like overall number one picks, or are you talking
overall
number
one?
Not Cam Newton.
I'm gonna look up a recent number one.
I'm just trying to think from last year. Who was picked first overall last year? Oh, Bryce Young. I mean, Bryce Young.
We kind of saw what he had to deal with this past year.
It's also
one of the
Carolina,
worst records,
which was horrific. But yeah, it was Bryce Young, who was 2 years before that.
Before Bryce Young was Trayvon Walker, a defensive end. Trevor Lawrence in 2021. Yep. So
I mean, he's
Trevor Lawrence.
Mediocre.
He actually ended up signing one of the largest contracts for a quarterback in NFL history this past offseason, which we'll talk about in a few moments. Joe Burrow back in 2020. Obviously, we know the story about Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Cool Joe. He's been pretty successful. Kyler Murray in 2019 seemed to be pretty successful his first few years over in Arizona. Then that injury occurred with him. Things really started to fall apart over there.
We'll see if Call of Duty. Which
he definitely played quite a bit of Call of Duty.
Black Ops 6 beta just released, so he's probably grinding that.
I think there was something on Reddit going around that he was playing the beta of that, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Baker Mayfield in 2018, he had a great campaign with the Cleveland Browns, and now we see him over there in Tampa Bay. Myles Garrett 2017. We're about to find out when Andrew Luck was. Jared Goff 2016.
He revived his career with Detroit.
And surprisingly, he was able to get the Rams to that Super Bowl against the Patriots.
The most boring Super Bowl I probably ever watched.
Yep.
13-13.
That was a pretty bad one. Jameis Winston in 2015.
He's now a backup for Cleveland.
So the Crab Stealer in 2015. 2014, Jadeveon Clowney. So you might be right on the 2012. Eric Fisher in 2012. Is he still playing?
Is he an offensive lineman?
Yes, offensive tackle.
Probably.
I'm not sure if he's playing anymore. Andrew Luck in 2012. There it is. Cam Newton was in 2011. So Cam Newton, he was a number one overall pick. And then in 2010, Sam Bradford. We'll just go back to the 14 years. Actually, honorable mention, 2009, Matthew Stafford. He has also had a great career. Unfortunately, put in a bad situation, but he's been able to turn things around. So it has gone to show that past number one picks have been pretty successful in their first few years. And we'll see if Caleb Williams can translate all of those past names that we just mentioned into when he starts his career with the Bears. As a Packers fan and as a Vikings fan, we're probably hoping
we hope he busts because we like to see Chicago suffer. That brings enjoyment to both of us.
You got it, sir. But then I guess in all of these other situations with these quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, I do have a lot of trust in Bo Nix because he did play, I believe, in every single game of the preseason, and he looked really good. I just saw your face light up to something.
Yeah, so we're almost at 40 minutes, and I realized we forgot to put down our game predictions.
Oh, we'll just say those out loud as we get into them. How about that?
I'll pull up. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to try to keep this between an hour and a half, because that's like...
I think we brought up the rookie class pretty well
Oh yeah,
as
100%. I
for our
think you did a
topic,
really
so
good job with that.
we can definitely move on to our next part. So over these last 4 months as well, I guess even going back before that, there have been players who were given away in the free agency realm of things. So which players have found new bloods, if you will, for say Kirk Cousins out there?
Hold on, you said new bloods?
Yes.
I would have just said new homes, but okay.
They got new blood. I mean,
That's
Kirk
fair.
Cousins, he's going from the Vikings blood over to Atlanta's. So over in the Falcons for Kirk Cousins. Russell Wilson over to Pittsburgh. He's gonna be the starter for them. Saquon Barkley, he's going back home to Pennsylvania playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. Josh Jacobs going from Las Vegas over to Green Bay. Aaron Jones from Green Bay to Minnesota. Derrick Henry coming from Tennessee all the way to Baltimore. Jerry Jeudy coming from Denver Broncos country over to Cleveland Browns. I think that would be an interesting one. Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills after things didn't work out so well over to the Texans. And then we got Keenan Allen coming from the Chargers, like we mentioned before, over to the Bears. Christian Wilkins ended up getting moved from Miami to play, I forgot what team, Las Vegas, yeah, over to Las Vegas. And then Danielle Hunter, your boy, coming from Minnesota to play over for, who was it again?
He's playing for the Texans.
The Texans. So the Texans got a couple of guys in these moves, but these are the biggest players that ended up changing teams. As Matt would say, found new homes, and as I would say, found some new blood. But that's basically all that's really gone on for teams that have changed, or players that have changed to different teams. Just wanted to bring that up to give people a refresher. And then same thing for coaches. There's some new coaches that are out there in the NFL. As for the Patriots, Belichick, he's done. Patriots dynasty is officially gone forever.
I think it's been done for a little bit since Tom Brady left, but yeah.
I think even before Tom Brady left. Last year was in New England where they ended up losing to the Titans. But Gerard Mayo, he's taken over as the head coach of the New England Patriots. Then Jim Harbaugh coming from a natty over at Michigan to the Chargers. Then for the Raiders for his first full season as an interim head coach last year, Antonio Pierce, former player in there. Both Pierce and Gerard Mayo. I guess Jim Harbaugh is also a former player.
He did play for the Chargers when he got drafted.
Yeah.
So all former players for their coaching in their former teams.
So we're seeing a little bit of a trend going on here. Then Pete Carroll ended up leaving and retiring from the Seahawks. Mike McDonald to take over for Seattle. Then in Tennessee, the last move made was over to Brian Callahan, which sounds like a character out of Tommy Boy.
It sounds like a player generated. It sounds like one
of the most generic names, if I'm being completely honest with you.
A name generator from NCAA football that a player you're trying to recruit from Iowa. He's an offensive tackle. He's a 4-star recruit. His name's Brian Callahan.
That seems about right. A very Midwestern type of name. And if you got my Tommy Boy reference, good for you folks. Matt, I don't know if you were able to get it or not.
I've seen it once, so probably not.
Callahan Tire, or the Callahan Company, in the movie. That's the company that Tommy Boy ends up working for.
Oh, yeah.
So Brian Callahan might actually be the name of the CEO of that company in the movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. Let us know in the comments below who it actually is. That's a good trivia question. Who is the CEO of the Callahan Tire Company in Tommy Boy? But anyways, those are the new changes as from players and coaches. And yeah, now on to the rule changes,
which there's quite a bit. So, obviously, the biggest one being the kickoffs, which is adapted from the XFL kickoff rules. So, obviously, you don't know, you have the kicker kicking back at their own 35 still. Then you have the kickoff team and the receiving team 5 yards apart at, like, I think it's the 30-yard line, 30 and 35-yard line, the opposing side. Then you have two returners, and there's a landing zone from the 20 to the goal line. So no one can move until the ball is received by the receiving team, by one of the returners, and then they go at it. One, it's supposed to create player safety so you guys aren't running into 100% speed. Two, it's supposed to bring more excitement, which there's been some pretty good returns in the preseason already. So that's actually going to be really interesting. But it's really weird because I know if you kick it out of the end zone, which almost all the kickers did, if they could, which you don't want to do that anymore, because if you kick it out of the back of the end zone, the receiving team gets the ball at the 30-yard line. Usually it was a 25, but now it's the 30. And I believe if you don't even make it to the landing zone, it's like the kick out bounds rules where they just do this and they place the ball on the 40-yard line.
Mm.
So it's like really, really weird, but also I'm also really excited. I don't know if it's been performed the best since it's preseason when you have your number ones out there during the season. We'll see it tomorrow night, see how the Chiefs do. But yeah, so that's kind of like everything with the kickoff and kickoff rules. But with onsides, I think this is stupid. But since this is a new kickoff rule, I guess they kind of have to do it. We need to tell the teams, like, hey, we're doing an onside kick. Which, I mean, look at Pat McAfee. I know we've all seen the clip where start of the game, or it's like start somewhere the Colts just scored, and there's really no one in the middle of the field, and he onside kicked it to himself. Like, that thing brings back the glory, and honestly, like, just bring that surprise element. Like the Saints did it in the Super Bowl against the Colts. Like, that's a huge big one that, like, start off the second quarter, they go for an onside kick and they get it. But now you gotta tell teams, like, hey, we're doing an onside kick. So now they know. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna put 7 guys right here. And also,
I'll sorry to interrupt you, but I'm not sure if this is true in the playoffs. I thought they said that you could do an onside kick whenever, and the playoffs was the only exception. Which
that I don't know.
If that is the case, and I might be wrong, so I really don't want to spread in misinformation here, but if that is the case, that kind of just makes the rule almost seem absolutely pointless, if you ask me, because every game should matter, like a playoff game.
Mm-hmm. It's like kind of like the overtime rule. Like the overtime rule where, like, the first team scores and the game's over, that only applies in the playoffs where both teams get a chance. Like, it doesn't apply in the regular season.
I'll have to look that one up. You can keep on talking. I'll look it up.
But yeah, reviews on, like, game clock. I guess I didn't know about that one.
I ended up reading about that one. I guess I can tell the people about it. So I guess the NFL now has this thing where, and I guess to put people, I'll paint a picture for you guys here. So just imagine you're watching a game, you're watching your favorite team play or whatever. Quarterback is about to snap the ball or whatever, trying to give a hard count or something. The game clock is counting down, and you see it on the TV going from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then right when that 1 disappears, some people that you're watching the game are like, come on, it's delayed game. No, he got the snap off. It's delayed game. I just smacked my water bottle. But there's that stuff that goes around all the time. So the NFL is now doing something where that play can now be reviewed, which this could really make games feel a lot longer, which I almost feel like is kind of pointless at doing, because I feel like referee error, it's necessary to have. Like, it's just part of the natural parts of what you see in the game. Almost like in baseball with umpires calling balls and strikes. If they miss a call, that's just a natural thing that happens. And there's so many people who argue over that stuff. But now the NFL is incorporating where they can review plays to see if they actually got the snap off before that game clock went down to 0, or if they didn't get it off once it went to 0, which would then be a delay game penalty, which would cancel out that play. So if they were to score a touchdown right when that clock went to 0 and it was clearly a delay game, that touchdown is going to get overruled, and then it's going to be a 5-yard penalty, which big change if you ask me.
Yeah, it's different because I know definitely. I remember, I think it was Tony Romo and Jim Nantz were saying something about it. Like, teams will wait down because the refs have to look at when it says 1, and once they look back down, it'll say 0, and the ball's already snapped. It's like, because like when it says 0, it's not technically 0-0. It's like 0 and 0.5. It's not like 0.0. Yep. It's like 0.12. Like, so it's like not officially, just because it's like says 0 doesn't mean like there's 0 seconds, but there's still milliseconds till it hits like 0-0. So like that's like the whole thing about that. I mean, that's just knowing ball, really. Just like knowing what a second is. But also another rule that I actually learned by watching this through the Raiders and 49ers preseason game. If you win one of your challenges, you get a third challenge. The old rule is that if you win both challenges, you are rewarded a third challenge. But challenges are just so hard to win now that if you win one, you get 2 more, which can change the game.
That's crazy, because I feel like getting 50% of your challenges right, you should not be able to get an extra challenge out of it. Like, I feel like you should have to get 100% of them. That's like saying you're taking a test, and it's only 2 questions. You only get 1 question right. You got a 50%. You got an F on that test. Does that give you any right to be able to do that again?
I mean,
typically
you can get
not.
50, but
typically it doesn't, because then you'd have to show the teacher the homework that you got done or whatever. So then you can take it. In the NFL, it's not like that. They're saying you get 50% on this. Oh, we're just giving you a freebie right away. I just don't know about that one.
Yeah,
but that's new to me.
Mm-hmm. I found that really interesting. I personally think it's a good rule because challenges are actually really hard to overcome. But yeah, I mean, predictions for the seasons, for the season, not seasons, for the season. I'll say we have our division winners of the North, South, East, West, MVP, OPOY, DPOY, OROY, DROY, CBOY, and potential Super Bowl matchups. So, we're trying to get things rolling. We are almost at an hour of recording. Brenden, I'll let you start with division winners in all those.
All right, so I say the best way that we break this down would be, let's just start with the AFC. Let's go North, South, East, West, and then let's do NFC North, South, East, West. Okay, starting in the AFC North. Your winners of the North are going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I believe the Ravens really do have a great shot this year. Picking up Derrick Henry is a huge asset for them, I believe. And I think his name's Keon Mitchell. He's going to be a great backup running back with this team. He ended up getting injured earlier last year, but I think getting Derrick Henry is going to be a huge boost for this team. And they lost Mark Andrews for a majority of last season. They have him back, and hopefully that he's healthy going into this game against Kansas City tomorrow, because I also have high hopes on him, and it's the defending MVP Lamar Jackson. So to have that dual run pass threat of Lamar Jackson and then Derrick Henry in the backfield behind him, a completely different type of runner than Lamar Jackson, it gives Baltimore lots of options that John Harbaugh can work with his team. And their defense is also very good. I mean, Josh Hamilton, one of the cornerbacks for their team. Patrick Queen,
Did you just
another
say
one.
Josh Hamilton? It's Kyle
Did I
Hamilton.
did I say Josh?
You said Josh Hamilton. It's
Oh,
Kyle Hamilton.
true. I meant to say Kyle. Okay, Josh and Kyle, to be fair, are very common names. Hey, at least I didn't say Lewis,
That's fair.
like the F1 driver. But I think Baltimore's defense is also going to fare off really well. I think finishing second place in the division, though, is going to be the Bengals. I think the Bengals have lots of expectations that they really want to get there and finish at the top. I just think they're going to fall a little short because I have a little bit of concern about Joe Burrow's wrist ligament injury that he had from last year. And then finishing in third, I have the Cleveland Browns. I think they're going to be very close with the Bengals in the standings. But their defense, I'm very excited to see how their defense does. Once again, probably one of the best defense from last year, as well as projected this year. Defending Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett with them, obviously. So lots of hopes there with this division. I think this might be one of the most competitive divisions that there is. And then Pittsburgh would finish in last. I could see Pittsburgh finishing with a winning record, though. Mike Tomlin, he has never had a season this year with a losing record. I think it's going to continue. I think Russell Wilson may be able to work things out with his guys as he's now new to the team this year. But I think with Jalen Warren and Najee Harris, a great 1-2 combo in the backfield. Honestly, one of the most consistent backfields that there is in the game. And then same with their defense. Cam Hayward, he's going to lead them pretty well out there. And I believe he's also the defending Walter Payton Man of the Year.
I think he just got a contract restructure or got an extension.
I think that was yesterday or something. Yeah. So it's going to be a competitive division, but I think Baltimore's going to take it. And I think they're going to finish with 12 wins on the year. Pittsburgh's going to finish with 9, I think. So it's going to be tight.
Fair enough. Oh, am I going now?
Yeah, what do you got?
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we were just gonna name the divisions, but so AFC North, I still think that Baltimore's gonna come out on top. And then it might sound super cliche what I'm saying, but basically what you had is what I'm saying. I think that it's going to come down to the last game between Baltimore and Cincy to see who actually clinches that division. I don't know what Cincy really did. They did lose Jesse. Well, they've lost Jesse Bates for a while. But I don't really know what Cincy did on that defense. And with the big one is being with Patrick Queen coming back to Baltimore. He got drafted, went to Pittsburgh, then came back. And that's going to finish that's really going to solidify their linebacker core. But I still think that the Ravens did more in the offseason to not hype up, but stack up on defense than Cincy did. I still think that it's going to be a very close division race, but it's just going to be between those two teams. Third place is going to be Cleveland. I don't really think, maybe a wild card team at most. It really depends because Deshaun Watson got his contract restructured as well. You don't have Nick Chubb for probably the first 6 weeks. He's coming off that ACL.
And who knows how well Nick Chubb's going to perform.
I still picked him up in
year.
fantasy. Excuse me.
What round did you get him in?
I got him in the 10th round. I got
out of how many teams in the league?
I think one was 14.
It was a 14-team league, and you got him in the 10th round?
Yeah, so pick 140 to 150, really.
That's ridiculous. He was projected it on ESPN as the 115th player or something like that.
Yeah, but I also do gamble. Well, not literally gamble, but I also got TJ Hawkinson.
You made that sound very great at the beginning that you gamble.
I also got TJ Hawkinson. I mean, TJ Hawkinson and George Kittle, I could literally It's hardly that I have Hawkinson, I think,
To
and
make
Kittle.
it to make it clear, Matt is saying that he's not gambling. He says he's just banking on these guys to do well
Yeah, and
later on.
they're injured, and
So,
I can also use them as like trade value as well, so if I really wanted to. But
very
anyways,
true.
that leaves me to last place, which is going to be the Steelers. My opinion, Russell Wilson shouldn't be starting. Justin Fields should be starting. I mean, George Pickens, I think they got Deontay Johnson. Or no, he left to go to Carolina.
He's gone. Deontay's in
I don't know
Carolina.
who
Yeah.
their receiving core is. I think they have the worst. I don't think they do. They have the worst receiving core in the league. I mean, I don't know if they'll finish with a above 500 record. I mean, it'll be the first time in Mike Tomlin's coaching history that he won't. But yeah, that's really the AFC North.
So I'll walk you through their wide receivers that they have here real quick. Pittsburgh has George Pickens,
Oh, they got Roman Wilson in. I forgot they picked him
Van
up in the draft.
Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin the third.
I'm gonna be like, I remember Scotty Miller from when he beat Green Bay because he burnt Kevin King right before halftime, so I know who Scotty Miller is. Van
Yep.
Jefferson, I know he played at the Rams, and then Rome, as I said, Roman Wilson played at Michigan with JJ. Another guy, I have
Yep.
no clue. Like I said,
Yeah, I don't know.
they
I
don't have
don't
a
know.
very good receiver room.
I don't know Calvin Austin the
It
third.
must be
I
something
didn't I
major.
didn't even know Roman Wilson. But I think that it's fair to say that the North it's going to be one of the most competitive divisions that's out there this year. And now moving on to the South. So I'm going to try to make my breakdowns a little bit shorter so we don't take forever. I just go bang 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 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go from 4 to 1 actually this time,
4-1 now. Oh gosh. Okay.
just to make it sound more interesting. So taking fourth place in that division for me, I don't think this is going to be much of a surprise. The Tennessee Titans. I think the Titans just they're not that great of a team this year. New coach, we'll see how they fare off with things and how the team just does. And at my 3 spot, I think you might be a little bit surprised about this one. Maybe not. But I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Uh, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is that good. I can't believe he got a contract extension for one of the largest contracts for a quarterback in the NFL. Then in my number 2, I have the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson, he's going to have a really good year this year, and he's got a possible chance of winning that comeback player of the year award. And then at my number 1, as we probably all expect, the Houston Texans. They've picked up so many great guys this offseason. Daniel Hunter being one of them. Joe Mixon, another one of them, running back coming from Cincinnati. And I think CJ Stroud, he's really going to perform well again. Tank Dell, he'll be coming back. I mean, just their entire team, they're fully loaded. They have the defending defensive rookie of the year. I mean, I think things are just looking really well for this Texans team.
Yeah, I mean, we must think a lot alike because that's the same exact order. I don't have high hopes on the Titans. I mean,
Yeah, they're
they
not
got
good.
Calvin Ridley. I mean, I don't know who else they really got. Oh, they got L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. I don't know if you've seen the meme where it's like every player that goes that's in like a Titans jersey that played for a previous team look like they're completely washed up, like washed players. It's like insane. Then I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said, T-Law isn't really like we were saying about the number 1 picks. I mean, he's been decent, but he hasn't been phenomenal. Obviously, but I mean, we look at 2 years prior. Daniel Jones got 4 years, $160 million. So I mean, yeah. But
That speaks for itself.
then I have the Colts. I do think AR Anthony Richardson is going to have a good year. Even though he kind of did struggle in the preseason, so I'm going to see how that does. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Alex Pierce, That defense has always been good. And then obviously the number one spot is going to be the Houston Texans. They even got better than they did from last year, so they should. And they're going to be like the new ceiling because they were completely down low. Now they've set the ceiling so high.
Yeah, it's really exciting things that Houston really has going on down there. I mean, the fact that they had so many additions to their team, and I mean, they had an MVP candidate or a player who should have been an MVP candidate from last year. They have the offensive rookie of the year, the defensive rookie of the year from last year. It's just all lining up for the Texans to possibly make it all the way to New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. But over to the AFC East now, finishing in fourth. I don't think anybody's surprised by this one. The New England Patriots. They've just lost so many pieces. Things have really fallen apart on them. I am excited though to see when Drake May will get to play. Even though Brissett is the starter for this team, I don't think he's going to be the starter throughout the entire year. Even though Brissett, like you said, he's got to play under Tom Brady. So at least there's a little bit of experience that's there, but New England it's not working for me this year. This number 3 spot, the top 3 in this division, I think they're all going to be very close. Finishing in third place for me, I'm going to have the Buffalo Bills, actually. I just don't see too much coming from Buffalo this season. They ended up losing Stephon Diggs, which may help them, but it also may be a little bit of discredit towards them. And I think we're going to find out who Josh Allen truly is this season. This is going to be one of his seasons where he's really going to be fighting for that pedestal in the playoffs. And I see this team as possibly making the wild card or maybe just not being able to get in. I'm curious how they're going to do. And I know that MVS ended up getting injured too earlier, and he was supposed to be one of the top receivers for that team this season. So that could be a huge piece lost. But he's probably going to rely heavily on the tight end position over there. But in my number 2 spot, I'm going to put the Miami Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins as my number 2 team in the AFC East. I think that their team is very similar with what they had last year. Christian Wilkins was like the only guy that they ended up losing to free agency. So
Andrew Van Ginkel as well.
Where did he go?
Minnesota. That's the only reason why I know
that.
that.
Yeah, that's right. Van Ginkel, he's a good player though too. But
they are getting Jalen Phillips back.
Coming off of that ACL injury.
Achilles.
Oh yeah, the Achilles injury from
when he played
Thanksgiving or whatever. Yeah.
Black Friday.
Friday. So coming off of that injury, and then I just think Tua, he's gonna perform as he has been over these last couple of years. And I think Tyreek Hill, he's just a key piece to that team. So if Tyreek Hill stays healthy, I see this team easily finishing top 2 in the division. Jalen Waddle, another one of their wideouts. They also added Odell Beckham Jr. down there, but I think he's washed.
He's hurt.
On to my number 1 though. I got the Jets. I'm rocking with the Jets. Their defense this year is going to be good. I think they might be one of the top defenses in the NFL this season. And when you have Aaron Rodgers on your team, even though he's coming off of that pretty bad Achilles injury from last year, hopefully history does not repeat itself. I think if it doesn't, the Jets will finish as the number 1 team in the East. Big expectations in New York.
Now, there's only one team that we have in common that's in the same place. And that is, I almost said the Detroit Patriots, the New England Patriots.
The Detroit Patriots.
That sounds like a semi-pro team. I'm not even going to lie. There's a semi-pro team called the Detroit Ravens, so
Pretty close.
they're a very good team. But New England, I don't really have much expectations. Ramondre Stevenson is kind of good. He's an RB1. I mean, KJ Osborne is your number one wide receiver. When they know their season's done, they're going to throw in Drake May. That's really it for New England. Number 3, I do have the New York Jets. I still do have that because you do not know how Aaron Rodgers is going to come off of an Achilles injury, which he's playing week 1 back on that same field again on Monday night. Let's just hope it's longer than 3 snaps. But like you said, they do have a phenomenal defense. But I don't know how their offense will do. I mean, Garrett Wilson's so good. You're going to have Rodgers. You're going to have Breece Hall, who's still good. For some reason, was the number 4th pick overall, which absolutely blew my mind. I mean, Braylon Allen, good old Wisconsin, Fond du Lac native. He's a backup. He's going to be good. I have high hopes for him. But I don't really see... This could be the moment where the Jets turn things around, but I don't know how long they have Rodgers for. Maybe another 3 years? 2 years?
I think they got 2 more years of A-Rod.
At that point, I mean, I don't even know. I think you have Mike White as your backup.
I truly think, though, this season for the Jets, it is deep playoff run or absolute bust.
Let me rephrase that. I think these top 3 teams are going to be within 2 games of each other. I will say that. I think they all split a series against each other. So the top 3 teams will go basically 3-3 against each other.
I would say that for my top 3 as well. Like having the Bills in at my 3 spot, like they're right there with the Dolphins and the Jets for me.
I will say this for my number 2, I still have the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it's going to be... The only thing that really shocks me is that you live on the East Coast. They live Southeast, and everyone plays Northeast. And we all know how the Dolphins play when in cold weather. They suck. I'll say if you saw that Chiefs-Dolphins game, that was a horrific game. Tua couldn't throw the ball. I mean, yeah, they're going to say it. All the controversy that Tua isn't really that good. He has Tyreek Hill, yada, yada, yada. Basically what you're going off of, I mean, I still agree with you. Like, I still think they're going to be good. I don't know. I think their strength of their schedule is actually kind of easy based from last year, so that's going to be interesting. But I still think they will do good, but I don't think they're going to beat my number 1 team, which is the Buffalo Bills. I still think their defense is still very strong. I mean, I don't really know who they lost. I think they lost Jordan Poyer. I still think they have Micah Hyde. If not, he's still a free agent. Micah Hyde is still a free agent.
Yeah, I don't think Micah Hyde ended up getting signed. Yep. So they have Jordan Poyer. They still have Matt Milano.
Matt Milano is now out. He's on IR.
That's a big loss.
That's a huge loss. But I don't know if you heard a little story. 2 years ago, there was a D2 player who wore Matt Milano's jersey. He was a fan of the Bills, and he went to a Bills game, and now he's starting for the Bills, basically. So it's kind of funny and ironic.
That's like one of those... That's like a movie I watched.
That's like a Rudy movie.
A couple of months ago.
But
that is kind of like Rudy, yeah. Anyways,
I think the offense... They're going to have wide receivers. They don't really have wide receivers. But yeah, I got 2 great tight ends, Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. You still have a good backfield. You still have James Cook. I still think Josh Allen still has that magic. He can make things work out of nothing. I mean, you also lose Gabe Davis as well, so that he goes to Jacksonville.
Nah, this is what I'm saying. Like they've just lost those wide receiver pieces, and this is when we're truly gonna find out who Josh Allen is.
I still think Josh Allen can make something out of it. With Khalil Shakir right now, I mean, you could probably go sign Michael Thomas, as we were calling Slant Boy. But no, I still think, like I said, these are all going to be within like 3 games of each other, 2 3 games of each other. So this could be a very tight race. But I still think that playing in Buffalo is like one of the heart in Apple Orchard is still one of the hardest places to play. So that's I got the Bills winning the East as always. Well, as last year.
That show. Okay, so yeah, carrying on to the AFC West now. I think this one might be a pretty predictable division to take guesses on, especially with the bottom three, or the bottom three could be replaceable in
It
either
could
spot.
be, yeah.
The top dog, we all know who it is. I just start with it. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, defending Super Bowl champions back
Back
to
to
back,
back.
and they got it working for them. I'm curious to see how they play in Week 1 though, because they kind of played mediocre when it comes to Week 1
They lost to
of
the
this
Lions
season.
last year.
So we'll see how they do, but I think the Chiefs are easy favorites. I mean, you got Mahomes, you got Kelsey, Pacheco. I think adding Xavier Worthy is going to be a big piece for this team, as he's going to be running. Don't know what the heck is going on with your face right now.
Sorry.
Um, didn't know if you were having like Tourette's or something going on, but anyways,
Keep
I
going.
mean, you're talking about a lot of big pieces on this Chiefs team. The roster's gonna be stacked, and they play in probably the least competitive division in the league. You can argue a wall with that one. I call it the least competitive because there's not any team that is close to their level, but give them credit, they're really good. Andy Reid's a great coach. Finishing in second place for me, I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one. Give me the Chargers in my second spot. I think Jim Harbaugh, he's going to have a great welcome back homecoming to LA over there. And Justin Herbert, I think he's one of those quarterbacks who you were talking about, like Josh Allen, where he can make something out of nothing. I mean, lost a lot of pieces. Losing Mike Williams, losing Keenan Allen, those are going to be huge losses for them. So it'll be interesting to see how the Chargers fare out with things. I'm not even sure who their top wide receiver is in their room.
Quentin
Do you know?
Johnson or Joshua Palmer.
It's probably Joshua Palmer. They had Palmer last year, so we'll see how things go with them. But I'll have them in the second spot. Finishing third for me, I think my third and fourth are very interchangeable at this point. I'm going to take the Broncos in third place in that division. I'm hoping that Bo Nix can figure things out pretty well with their offense, but I don't have too many expectations for this team, if I'm being completely honest. I think their defense is what's going to help them a lot throughout this season. So, yeah, I'm going to take Denver over there in third place, and then taking last is going to be the Raiders. It's unfortunate to see what's going down there in Las Vegas. I almost said Oakland there. Back to the good old days. Unfortunately not, but I may have picked Devontae Adams in our league, so I'm hoping that he gets a bunch of fantasy points, but I think that's going to be about it for this team. I don't see much going on. They lost Josh Jacobs. That's a huge loss for them. I just don't see much going well for them because their running back that they have now is
Zamir White and Alexander
Zamir White.
Madison.
Yeah, Zamir White. He performed as their backup last year, so I'm curious. I just don't see much happening with this team. Antonio Pierce coaching, maybe he might turn them around a little bit, but I don't have much hope for this division.
Now, if we're going to start for number one's obvious. Kansas City Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowl champs, going to go for that three-peat. There's nothing I need to say. You basically said it all. Number 2, though. I think this might be the only one. This might be the most mixed up one. I got the Denver Broncos. I do think that Sean Payton's going to have a better relationship with Bo Nix than he is with Russell Wilson. And also, they still have Courtland Sutton. I mean, they got rid of Jerry Jeudy, but Jerry Jeudy never really lived up to his hype. But I still think just based off of watching them during the preseason, he's looked good. So I'm not going to be surprised if he does good. I mean, he's a QB1 for a reason. Number 3, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. I still think because they were doing good, they were kind of started picking up things like you have a player's coach who's the players can rally behind, and that's going to be huge. Like Devontae Adams, now it's Gardner Minshew starting for them. Like you said, Zamir White. I mean, you got Brock Bowers, a rookie tight end, playing for them. Then the defense, I mean, Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins. That's going to be a deadly defensive front. And then I actually don't know who they have for linebackers and DBs. I don't know. But
out there in Vegas?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
No, but then you have my last place team, which is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers. You have no receivers at all. Quentin Johnson, I think, has proven to be a bust. I mean, he can't catch balls to save his life. So I mean, there's really nothing in that offense. I mean, Austin Eckler's gone. You get J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, who are super injury prone. Herbert's not going to have anyone to throw to. The defense, I mean, still have Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. That's the only upside about that. But Chiefs are going to be the winner, clear winner. 4 games behind is going to be the Broncos. 5 games behind them are going to be the Raiders, and then the Chargers are just not going to have a very good year.
Yeah, the 2, 3, and 4 teams of this division, they could really be interchangeable with each other. I think they're just not to that level of Kansas City at all. I don't think a team in that division is going to get to Kansas City's level until the point of retirement for either Mahomes or Kelsey. And it'd be Kelsey who would retire first. So
it might be this year, if not next year for sure.
If they three-peat, I think he's going to retire after the three-peat. But your answer to the question about linebackers, Robert Spillane, he's one of their linebackers, as well as Devine Diablo. And then there's also Luke Masterson, Amari Gaynor, Tommy Eichenberg, and I don't even want to say the third string guy. So we're going to move on to the NFC. So to make time go a little bit faster, I'm just going to run through all of the divisions really quick. So starting with the North. Man, what a division this is going to be. Obviously, this is our division here. This is the division with our teams. But finishing in first place, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I think this team is built up for being a Super Bowl competitor. I really do. I don't know if you saw the commercial, the Applebee's commercial with Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. I've seen the Brock Purdy portion. I haven't seen the Dan Campbell one.
I didn't see the Brock Purdy one. I only saw the Dan Campbell. But it's comedy. It's good TV. Highly recommend watching it. But I think the Lions, they are ready. They're ready to hunt for a Super Bowl and win their first ever Super Bowl. Jared Goff, I think he's going to perform just about as good as he did last year. Sam Laporta, I think he's going to pop off this year. Maybe be one of the best tight ends in the league. He was already close to being one of the best in the league this past year, just behind Kelsey and Andrews. And I guess you could kind of argue with Kittle as well. But their defense as well, it's insane. The only guy they really lost is C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And Gardner-Johnson, he was a big piece for them. But I think they're going to step up really well on defense. Aiden Hutchinson, he's only going to get better. And the fact that he's still playing at his home state where he played college football, like he has so much belief in that team and he's so loyal to them. And Dan Campbell, he's just an extremely good coach. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to perform very well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he might have a top 5 year as a wide receiver this year. That could be a hot take, but I think Amon-Ra could be top 5 in the league in receiving this year. I think the Packers are going to finish in second. I think they're a very solid team this year. A lot of people are hyping them up a lot. I don't think that I'm going to hype them up that much, though. They're only a year older than they are. They're still a very young team. They only have one player above the age of 30. That's Preston Smith, who's 31 years old. So Green Bay, I do have a lot of faith in Jordan Love. I do think he is going to perform as a top 5 quarterback in the league this year. I mean, in the second half of the season last year, he was the best quarterback in football. So if he can keep those numbers within top 5 of the quarterbacks in the league, Green Bay is easily going to finish second place in this division. I think they're going to be close with the Lions, though. I can see them splitting 50-50 in their games. In third place, sorry, man, I'm going to take the Bears. Taking the Bears to finish in third. Obviously, we don't know what to expect from Chicago. It is a completely new roster, essentially, with the Chicago Bears, especially on offense. Their defense, they have a lot of great guys out there on their defense, but their offense, it is the key piece to see if they can actually put up some wins on the board, moving on from Justin Fields, going to Caleb Williams, and then having Rome Odunze out there, Keenan Allen as another one of the receivers. Cole Kmet, I think he might have a better year as the tight end this year. It's all about Caleb Williams, though, just to see how he performs out there. And they also picked up DeAndre Swift over there from Detroit. So we'll see what happens. But then in fourth place, I got the Vikings. I think if J.J. McCarthy didn't sustain that injury and get that surgery done, I think I would have had the Vikings finish in third in this division. But Sam Darnold, you know how I feel about him. I just don't think he's that guy. I mean, he has got to perform under, like, last year with the 49ers and getting to be with Coach Shanahan, which could be a tremendous help to offensive schemes. But I just don't see too much happening here with the Vikings. I am excited to see Aaron Jones play for them, though, because Aaron Jones, he's still one of my favorite players who's out there. So I'm still going to be cheering him on until once it's against the Packers. But I just don't see much from the Vikings. But I guess, do you want to intervene here? Or
I mean, you have the same exact list as I have. I mean, Detroit, Green Bay.
Yeah. I feel like it's...
And like I said before the show, I would count a great season for the Vikings if we get over 5 wins.
I'm happy you guys got Van Ginkel, too.
Yeah, we also got Blake Cashman as well from the Texans. I mean, we had a pretty good offseason, even though you gave it like a C-.
That is how I ruled the team, because I thought that their starting quarterback was going to be exactly who it is, and now we're about to find out why it's a C-, because I just don't think their quarterback's good.
I mean, the thing with Minnesota is that Justin Jefferson, the biggest thing is that he's the highest paid non-QB in the league history. I
feel bad for Justin Jefferson, dude.
But you also look at him, what he did without Kirk Cousins. I mean, Nick Mullins is arm punter. I mean, I don't know if you realize, like, the last game they played against Detroit, he had like 9 catches for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. But no one's going to remember that game because they lost. So it's like he made Nick Mullins look like a pretty good thing. But this also brings me to the one thing. I actually saw a guy, he made a TikTok about, I forgot what his name is, but he does like these little skits, like he acts as like different teams. But he said that the more he elaborated, the more and more it made sense. Like, the Vikings can never find a franchise guy but they can take like below average quarterbacks and make them look good. Like Case Keenum, Matt Castle. It was like super weird. Am I gonna say that we're gonna have an NFC championship run? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think Sam Darnold's Case Keenum.
Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a guy who has struggled throughout all of his years in the league.
I also don't think
Since
he had very good coaching as well.
he got thrown into fire. I
He
mean,
got thrown
he
in the
started,
fire with
started
Rex
with
Ryan
Carolina.
at New York, and then the whole shebang, shaboodle with Carolina before Bryce Young.
Yeah, New York and Carolina, those teams throughout those years were just dumpster fires, and then serving as that backup over in San Francisco might have helped them a little bit more, but I I just don't see it going well. So I guess that's the NFC North that we have for you guys. Probably not a surprise to anybody, really. How about going on to the South? This is one of those divisions that, I mean, past couple of years it's been shaky, to say the least, with teams finishing just below 500 to be able to get that title. But I'm gonna start from 1 to 4. Finishing in first place, I'm gonna take the Atlanta Falcons. I think this team has a lot of promise ahead of them. I think Kirk Cousins is going to perform just like he did over there in Minnesota. And I think that Kyle Pitts, once again, another one of those tight ends who could possibly have a top 5 year, like finishing ahead of some guys that we know all too well about. But their defense is the only concern that I have. Their offense, to me, they seem like they're pretty stacked up. But it's only their defense that I have concerns about. In second place in this division, I'm taking the Buccaneers. I have lots of faith once again in Baker Mayfield. Baker, he ended up performing very well towards the end of the year last year. And now that he's a little bit older of a player, he might be a little bit on a downfall, but I think still better than the other two teams that remain that are out there. And Tampa Bay's defense, pretty solid when they're out there, especially their running defense. The only concern I would have is when they defend the pass, especially from last year. I'm not sure how many changes that they were able to make from last year on defense. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay as my number 2 team. And then finishing in third place, I'm going to take the Saints. I think the Panthers are going to have another difficult year again, but it'll be better. But with the Saints, Derek Carr, I just don't see much happening. Alvin Kamara, maybe a little bit more things going on, and they just seem like that a very, very average team this year, and just I think average is the best way to describe them, if I'm being honest. Like, they had a guy who came from Vegas, made his way over there, and then I guess with the rest of their pieces, Chris Olave, he could be a little bit of a difference maker for the team, but I think a lot of people are seeing him as overrated right now. You made a weird face on that one. I think a lot of people are seeing him as overrated though. So, on the defense, once again, with the Saints, they've always been really good at defending the run. It's the pass that concerns me again, just like Tampa Bay with them. So, yeah, I'm going to take them at 3 and Carolina at 4. I don't know too much about the Panthers. This division I don't study much about, as you can probably notice. But it's just once again, one of those very average divisions that's just not going to make any noise when it comes playoff time.
All right, so With me, I forgot you kind of elaborate on the Panthers. Number one, I do have the Buccaneers. So I still think, I mean, I don't really know who the Bucks lost on offense or defense. Like you said, like
We
I
don't
don't really pay attention because this is the
we
most
don't study these guys.
These guys suck. Like this is the worst conference in football, the worst division of football for like the past
Dude,
2 years.
I could have just been yapping up garbage that entire time.
You could
Who
have
even
like,
knows?
but the Bucks did make the playoffs. They still have Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield might have just revived his career with Tampa. So that what does give me hope. I mean, Antonio Winfield Jr., the highest paid safety, got re-signed. You got a new deal done. But
Antoine?
yeah, Antoine Winfield, whatever.
Then you said Antonio, but
Anyways, tomato,
close
tomato.
enough.
Um, Next I have the Falcons. I mean, yeah, I do think. I mean, they did have a little scandal how they recruited Kirk Cousins and Darnell Mooney illegally. But I think Kirk Cousins is gonna make a better. Is gonna use Kyle Pitts more and Raheem Morris that being the new head coach in taking over. He's gonna use Bijan correctly. No more Arthur Smith bull crap. And the funny thing is that you said that their defense is like super like unstable. I don't do you, like they have AJ Terrell, they have Jesse Bates, they have Jeff Okuda. Who else do they have? But like their defense is like one of the better defenses. So I find that very interesting. Third, I have the Saints. I mean, no really expectation from the Saints. They're just there. They're just there. Derek Carr is not good. I mean, Chris Olave, I don't think he's overrated. I don't think he's never really had a chance. But I do think he's still a good receiver. And then Carolina is Carolina. They're still rebuilding. They don't have anything going for them. Besides showing that Bryce Young is progressing.
Yeah, the 3 and 4 teams, they're average to below average,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just putting it lightly on them. But so you were talking about Jesse Bates and Jeff Okuda. I understand that they're good players, but I mean there were just those times last year where I saw Bates get burned so many times in Cincinnati. I think that's why the Bengals wanted to get rid of him.
That could be. I mean,
But
you follow the Bengals more than I do, so you would know
but
probably.
we'll see what happens as we move forward. I was thinking that their defense was a little better on defending the run. Maybe I'm wrong this year. But like I said, maybe I'm just yapping up crap, and that's what a lot of these analysts do, though.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just yap about stuff, and it could be true, it could not be true. So that's the South for you, and headed to the NFC East. This is going to be a fun division for at least two of these teams. Maybe add a third one in the mix, but one of them for sure not making it. We're just going to start with them, the Giants. They're a lost cause.
Yeah,
Giants are a lost cause, almost as bad as the Patriots, almost as bad as the Panthers here in this situation. That's all I'm going to say about the Giants, because once again, I don't know too much about them, except they lost Saquon Barkley, which that's huge. Into my third place position, I'm going to take the Commanders. I think Washington is going to progress a lot more this year. I'm excited about watching Jaden Daniels play. Once again, though, I'm not sure if he should be starting throughout the whole season, just because, as we were talking about before, these rookies, if they get thrown in a bad situation, it really ruins their confidence, and it's really tough to rebound from. And it's kind of similar to with Bryce Young kind of dealt with. I'm excited about them adding Austin Eckler to their team. I think he's going to be a great backup in terms of things. He really fell off, though.
That's the only reason why I did that,
season.
because his fall off is insane.
I couldn't believe how bad his fall off was from last year. So I think he has exciting things ahead of him for getting moved to over there. But Washington, I think there might be some things to feel excited about if you're a fan of that team.
Mm-hmm.
Second place, 2-1, I think are interchangeable for me. But
I know.
I,
I don't.
I'm
I
gonna
honestly don't think that this division is going to be as good as it's been in the past.
just because of how history goes with itself, I'm gonna say the Eagles are number two. I'm putting Philadelphia in at number two. The Eagles fall off when they got to week 11 of the season, all the way to the end. Needs to be studied right now. Like ESPN make a 30 for 30 on that. Um, we're gonna see how they rebound come Friday against Green Bay. Obviously, it's a new season and all of that. You're now without your center leader in Jason Kelsey, so he's done. We'll see how Philadelphia
Fletcher Cox
res-
is gone.
responds to that. Fletcher Cox, he's retired now. I mean, there's a lot of questionable pieces going on in Philadelphia. The only things that they really have going for them are you're solid with a 1-2 wide receiver combo. AJ Brown for sure the number one. He's going to be fantastic. And then in that the number two is going to be Devonta Smith, hands down for them. And Jalen Hurts, we'll see how he does with them. And
You
Dallas
just have
Goedert,
Saquon, and you still have Dallas Goedert, who are still very good. Obviously, Saquon's probably one of the best running backs in the league, and Dallas Goedert is probably a top 10, top 12 tight end.
yeah, Dallas Goedert. I'll say this. I think he's a little bit past his prime now in his career, so he's gonna fall off a little bit. But I still think he's gonna do just fine with them. He, like you said, I think he's gonna be top 15 at least of a tight end in this league. But yeah, Philadelphia is my number two with things, and with them getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson too, that's a huge piece to their defense. From losing Fletcher Cox. But my number one, I'm taking the Cowboys, even though I think they're a fraudulent number one once again, as we see from them every single year. They may win the division, but to them there, I was like, winning the division, we don't care. We just want to win the Super Bowl. And then comes the playoffs, they just suck. Dak Prescott, I absolutely think he's overrated. CeeDee Lamb, he is a very good wide receiver, though.
Paid?
He did just end up getting paid. How much was it?
30
Nah,
is
I know,
34 million a year because JJ is 35.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, he just got paid and everything, but they ended up losing Tony Pollard this year. That's
Not really
that could
too
be
much.
a little bit of a difference to Tennessee over there. Now they got Ezekiel Elliott back, who is well past his prime. So I think Dallas is down on the running back side, but I think it all comes down to how Dak Prescott performs. And for some reason, he is such a good quarterback in the regular season. And then when it comes to the playoffs, he loses it. He is absolute garbage. I would say other words, but those words are not allowed on here on this program, even though we're pretty far into it. But Dallas is
at 2 hours now.
Dallas my number one. Go ahead.
So Giants are trash. They're number 4. I'm actually gonna shake this up a little bit. I'm feeling really what's the word? Frisky about this. I'm gonna go with
Frisky.
Dallas at 3. I don't think they have a huge season. I'm gonna go Eagles at 2. And I'm gonna go with the Commanders at 1. I think this is my experiment division. I just want to see how this turns out. If I had to shake it up somehow because we have always been the same. It was gonna be New York, Commanders, Dallas, and Eagles, basically the same thing as you. But I feel like being different, so I'm gonna say the Commanders are the one. they just blow everyone out with the surprise of Jaden Daniels. Like you said, if it is, it's going to be like the year where they went like 7-9 and they almost beat the Buccaneers at home when Taylor Heineke got called. It's like, hey, we need to come play. I feel like it's going to be like that type of team where it's like nothing's going right, but they still have the best division in football. That he's like, here's a bid. That's honestly what I'm thinking. That this is the only reason that happens is that the NFC East just sucks.
I remember those days of Taylor Heineke being over there. Yeah, those were good times there for Washington.
But now we are on to our last division, which is in the West.
Oh, in the West. I'm going to go from 4-1 once again here. Number 4 is Seattle Seahawks. I think Seattle is on a big downgrade here. Pete Carroll, I think he is a huge asset to that team. And now that he's gone, I don't think Seattle really has too much to really hope for. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's going to have a much better campaign this season in his second year in the league, so it's going to be a nice pickup for him. And then following with DK Metcalf as the number 1 receiver, we'll see how Geno Smith ends up performing with them, but he's in his later years being a quarterback out there, so there's just not too much going on with them over in Seattle. Not what they used to be. Definitely not what they used to be, especially on defense. I just don't see much going on out there in Seattle. I will say this. Their environment that they play in might be one of the hardest to play in football. So that might help them a little bit more, but I don't see the Seahawks doing too much, and we'll see how Mike McDonald does in his first year as a head coach of this team, not expecting much. Third place, I am going to take the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to be built up a lot better than what they are, especially a lot better than what their uniforms look like. Probably one of the worst uniforms in football with them. But Kyler Murray, we'll see how he rebounds here this season. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that's an exciting addition for this team. Other than that, though, I don't really see too much else with this team, but I think they could be a dark horse team come playoff time. Maybe a wild card spot. Definitely not winning the division, maybe a wild card spot. Second place, I think this might be a little surprising to some folks. I'm going to take the 49ers in second place in the division here. Matt is flabbergasted over that one. Actually, I don't know if he's flabbergasted. He actually might agree a little bit with this pick. I can't tell. I think San Francisco, yeah, they ended up going to the Super Bowl this past year. I think we ended up getting a few answers to see if Brock Purdy was the guy. Brock Purdy, he is the guy as their quarterback for sure. Christian McCaffrey, there's no way in heck he's having as good of a year as he did last year. There just is no way. Brenden Ayuk, he was finally able to make a deal with them, but there was so much drama going on around there. And when there's drama going around with football teams, they typically don't play their best out there. And I believe that some of their defensive pieces, especially when they lost Dre Greenlaw in the Super Bowl last year, he's not coming back for another, I think, like 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. It might be sometime longer than that, actually. So I think missing him is going to affect them a little bit. Getting Eric Armstead signed once again, that's a good sign for them. But I don't think Deebo Samuel's going to have as great of a year this year. I think George Kittle, he's going to perform about his average stats, so at least the top 5 tight end in the league again. But I just think San Francisco is going to fall a little bit short this year of who's going to finish in the number one spot, which is the Los Angeles Rams. Um, yes, you guys may think I'm crazy. They ended up losing one of the greatest defensive players of all time this past year, and Aaron Donald.
I forgot
But
about that.
it's a huge loss for them. But I think this team is very worthy to take that over, and I think they are truly fully set on all assets of their team, even though they lost a guy who is essentially irreplaceable. Matt Stafford, he is in his latter years of his career, but I think Kyron Williams is going to fare off very well. And Kyron Williams, he is actually one of my candidates right now as an offensive rookie of the year or offensive player of the year. Meant to correct that. Offensive player of the year, Kyron Williams. I think he's going to do something pretty special this year. I don't know why, but I just think that he will. And Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Puka is going to have a great second year of his career. And Cooper Kupp, he's not going to be as good as when he was in his offensive player of the year, but I think he's going to have probably a solid year, just under 1,000 yards and probably 9 touchdowns on the year for him. So I'm taking the Rams as my number one in the West and give them to me by like one game to the 49ers.
Interesting. Okay. Why is it so laggy?
You there?
Yeah, my FPS just like shrunk.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Please don't do this to me now.
You're just frozen on my screen.
Yeah, I know. Like nothing's
Hopefully
moving.
that's not a bad sign. It might be.
I swear, if we lose 2 hours of fucking screwing freaking footage. Oh.
There we go. First F-bomb of the year. We're not going to be able to do our top 10s anyways.
No, we'll wait for that. Okay. I think it's better. Okay, we're going
Okay.
up on the FPS.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're back. So, in the NFC West, in last place, I have the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
Nothing entirely good for them. Third place, I have the Los Angeles Rams. For me, that's getting an older team. Second place, I actually have the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is the year that they are going to bounce back with Marvin Harrison at the helm. So that's going to be really interesting. And then obviously in number one, I still have the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. I think for us, these rankings, a lot of the things we have are fairly similar to each other. There were some differences that we had in a few of the divisions, but
It was very similar.
in terms of our expectations, yeah, very similar. But we would have our top 10s, but no games have been played yet this year. So, and we're also past 2 hours in, like you mentioned.
We're at 150.
We're very close to 2 hours. Maybe we can get this thing within 2 hours because
we got those last two things in. I wasn't expecting that to take that long.
Do we want to do top 10s?
No.
Okay. We'll go over our MVP predictions
and then our game predictions.
Yep.
So
you can go first.
I'm just going to go shoot all of mine off right away. I'm not really going to go into depth. MVP, I think, is going to be Josh Allen. I think he's going to be MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, I think, is going to be either... There's three that I have in mind. Either CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey, or Justin Jefferson. But my mind is really saying CeeDee Lamb. Defensive Player of the Year is going to be TJ Watt. I think he's about to deserve what he gets. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think it's going to be. I would like to see Marvin Harrison, but they're going to give it to a quarterback, so it's going to be Caleb Williams if he does perform well. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Dallas Turner from the Vikings. I think he's one of the highest graded rookies on defense. Comeback Player of the Year, I gotta look and see because they just changed everything up about this. Like I think you actually have to come back from an injury or something. Because it was all about the whole DeMar Hamlin situation, Joe Flacco winning it, yada yada yada. But right now, I think I'm gonna say Kirk Cousins. I'm gonna say Kirk Chains. I just think that he does have a very good team down in Atlanta. My potential Super Bowl matchup, I'm going to say Lions. I really hate to do this, but it's going to be Lions-Chiefs.
No, dude.
But the Lions win.
Celebration over in Detroit town in Fordville. Woo, Super Bowl. Anyways, I don't know what that was, but my MVP candidates. Here's the thing: MVP is a quarterback award, so you just have to say that it's a quarterback in the NFL. I'm gonna go with C.J. Stroud. I think Stroud has all the pieces going right for him going into this season. I don't have any numbers or anything, but I think C.J. Stroud is a very great candidate to end up winning the MVP award this year. He actually might be one of the favorites going into this season.
He might be.
So that's not much of a surprising pick. Offensive Player of the Year, I'm on board with you. CeeDee Lamb is definitely up there. Just because the Dallas Cowboys, for some reason, when they're in the regular season, just like play like they're trying to win the Super Bowl or something. Yeah. But then when it comes to the playoffs, they just don't play. But CeeDee Lamb's a great pick. Christian McCaffrey, he's another solid option, like you mentioned. I think another one that isn't really getting too much credit. I think Garrett Wilson's gonna have a crazy year this year. Garrett Wilson would be one of my dark horse picks in that category. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm definitely gonna go T.J. Watt with you on this one. He's got vengeance. He should have won the last two. He had better numbers than Myles Garrett last year, and surprisingly, they ended up taking Garrett over Watt on it. So I agree with you. Offensive Rookie of the Year, once again, definitely quarterback. I'm going to go with Bo Nix, though. I think Bo Nix could be a very solid candidate at that as well. Defensive Rookie of the Year. See, I don't even know what too many of the rookies that are out there. Because I only know Turner on the Vikings, really, because he was one of the only guys that was picked.
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean. I mean, there's.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look at the list of that. I'm not too sure, but you said comeback player of the year would be coming back from an injury.
I think so. I know they changed like the rules.
If it's coming back from if it's coming back from an injury, and I'm saying Garrett Wilson's a potential candidate, give me Aaron Rodgers as comeback player of the year. I'm trying to think if there'd be any other guys who are out there that might have the potential to win that award. Kirk Cousins is definitely one.
Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, true. Joe Burrow Joe Burrow up there. I'm still gonna take Aaron Rodgers. I'm high on the Jets this year. I really am. So Super Bowl matchup, Jets aren't making it though. The Jets are not making it to the Super Bowl. uh, this year. But in the AFC, I'm taking the Texans.
Oh, yeah.
Texans in the AFC, and in the NFC, I'm between three teams right now. I'm between right now what would be the Eagles, the Lions, and the Packers. I'm gonna say the Texans against the Lions this year. I'm gonna say the Texans are gonna win it.
Didn't you say like in our postseason you had like the Texans going all the way against? Was it the Packers? I think you had, it was the Packers Texans Super Bowl for last year.
I think I had the Lions. I think I had the Texans and the Lions again. So this is Texans and Lions once again, but this is right before the season begins predictions. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I would say the Packers, but I just don't think their team is at, I don't want to say at that level because I really think they are. I just don't think they're more veteranized, if that makes sense.
They don't have a lot of veterans who's been there, so it's gonna be like a first time thing for everyone.
Yeah, even though they've won a playoff game and they were almost able to hold on to one against the 49ers this past year. But, I mean, same thing with the Lions, but I think this Lions team is a little bit older. And I think they understand the environment a little more, so I would take Detroit.
All right, well, you want to do our pick 'em? I mean, we can just say who we're gonna pick. I'm just gonna rant right through ours because we just hit over 2 hours.
Yeah, we've been going for a long time, and I gotta get going here soon.
This is not what I expected.
But
anyways,
this is where we get in the reboot.
Yeah, reboot season's taking a lot longer. So Ravens Chiefs, I'm gonna pick Chiefs. I'm just gonna do all mine first. Packers and Eagles. I think the Eagles are gonna win because Packers are wearing green, and that's like a
I heard about that.
Wear green in the stadium, and like the crime rate's like horrible.
Yeah, I heard if you're like wearing green or something, like people are gonna like try to pew at you or something.
It's like the stadium history and whatever. Panthers and Saints. I'm gonna take the Panthers. Vikings and Giants. I'm gonna take Minnesota. Patriots and Bengals. I'm gonna take the Bengals. Steelers and Falcons. I'm gonna take Atlanta. Texans and Colts. I'm gonna take the Texans. Cardinals at Bills. I'm gonna take the Bills. Titans at Bears. I'm gonna take Chicago. Jaguars at Miami. I'm gonna take Miami. Broncos at Seahawks. I'm gonna take the Broncos. Raiders at the Chargers. I'm gonna take the Raiders. Cowboys at the Browns. I'm going to take Dallas. The Commanders at the Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Rams at the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions. That's a playoff repeat. And then on Monday night, Jets at the Niners. I'm going to take the Niners. I don't know if you're putting this all in or not.
Oh
gosh.
I'm going fast with it.
I don't even know where you are.
You
had everything down. I didn't even see that.
I can't believe I was able to type all that in that fast. Okay. Yeah, I typed that really fast.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I just typed it in.
Anyways.
So
go straight down the list.
Yep. Ravens at Chiefs in the opener. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. I think the Chiefs just struggle for some reason when it comes to season openers. Eagles against Packers. I got to go with my hometown team. Going with the Packers. So we got two different picks right off the bat. Panthers at Saints. We're going three different picks right off the bat. I'm going with the Saints. And now here's where I go similar with you. I'm going with the Vikings over the Giants. And when it comes to the Patriots against the Bengals, yeah, you got to go with the Bengals on this one. Probably one of the biggest favorites headed into week one, more than likely. Steelers and Falcons. I'm going to go with the Falcons as well. Texans and Colts. I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. I think this is going to be a very good season opening game over there in Indianapolis. Should be exciting there. Cardinals and Bills. You picked the Bills. I'm taking the Bills as well. Still curious how Josh Allen's going to do this year. So I was surprised when you said he was your MVP. Titans against the Bears. I'm going to go with the Bears in this one as well. Caleb Williams will get his first win in his career. Jaguars against the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Dolphins as well. A Florida matchup. Nice. The Broncos and the Seahawks. This will be the first game in the 3:05 slot compared to all those noon games.
Wait, did I say I thought I said the Broncos.
You said the Seahawks. I swear you did.
Oh.
What do you want to pick?
Well, I kind of want the Broncos. I thought I said the Broncos, but we could leave.
You might have said it. I was busy typing in stuff as fast as I could. I'm gonna take the Seahawks in this game, just because it's in Seattle. Raiders against the Chargers. I'm gonna take the Chargers in this game. Different from you again. Cowboys against the Browns. Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys. Tom Brady's broadcasting debut as well. The Commanders against the Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Bucs as well. And headed to Sunday night. It's that rematch of the playoff game, like you said. Stafford against Goff. Give me Goff. At Detroit. Lions win. And the Jets at the 49ers. I just think Aaron Rodgers is cursed against a San Francisco team. So I'm picking the 49ers in this one as the favorites. But those are all of the picks that we have made. And to give a recap of how last year went, Matt, you probably don't want to hear about it.
You won. I know that. You won for 2 years in a row now. We were close. You beat me by 5 games.
Which is pretty close for how many games there are.
Yeah. And for season 1, we kind of started in the middle of the season, but you beat me by 2 games. Revenge tour. The ultimate revenge tour. I still have to buy you that trophy. That little trophy that says pick'ems.
Oh yeah.
20. I'm just gonna do 1, 22, 23, and I'll buy myself a toilet one that says Ultimate Loser 22, 23.
Hey, once that trophy is completed, I'll have room for it right here on my little setup that I got. Oh yeah, here's my cheese head too.
Oh, there it is.
The cheese head that's got the autographs from the 2 guys, John Kuhn. I forgot who the other dude was.
I don't even know who they were.
That's just a good day in general.
That was. You trying to go to that game again?
They
play in week 4. They play week 4.
I'm not sure if I can, due to some purposes that are things that I can't disclose here on the podcast.
He's actually not graduated. Or we go to Minnesota.
Dude, Minnesota would be fun. I've never been to a game there, so
I've played there, but it would be fun to see a game there.
For sure. Maybe. But the other autograph is Tony Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah.
From when Ben and I were in Kansas City. Otherwise,
okay.
I will have room on here for that trophy once I get it. Pretty darn excited. But I think that's going to wrap up this episode here of the Dots podcast.
Episode.
This has been a very, very long one. I actually need to get going really, really soon. So
perfect.
This is good timing.
Mm-hmm.
But We thank you guys for tuning into the Dots podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our episode. And if you did make it to the end, let us know and give us a comment. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this season? Just let us know down in the comments below, and make sure you click our notification bell so you get notified when we upload things. And we also have an Instagram page as well as a TikTok that we're working to get back. And then we're trying to get ourselves up on Spotify as well
and
eventually.
everything else, Apple Podcasts, whatever the whole ordeal is.
Wherever you find your podcast.
Yes, wherever you find your podcast, that's where this will be posted, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, from the away sideline, checking out your boy Matty Icy, a.k.a. Matt Crowley, because I always screw those up. So I guess that's just my thing now.
Hey, it's day one of the season here on the podcast. So signing off here on the home sideline here in beautiful Stevens Point, where we are 1 day and 2.5 hours away, close to 3 hours from the first game of the season. But here in Stevens Point, it's your boy 99 Brett's Golf, Brenden Retzloff checking off here in Stevens Point. We thank you guys for tuning in to the Dots podcast. Be sure to check out all of our episodes here on YouTube. Link down below for all of our other information. We will see you guys in the next episode. Happy football season.